But this week's viewer is Andy, who's looking for a high-performance car, probably from Japan. Already driven the Honda, now it's the time to drive the Subaru Impreza. You already said before you weren't mad on the styling of this car.
I did. You know, do I fancy it? That's the question.
Do you? Do you fancy it enough?
If it was a woman, I'd probably think 6 pints, and then I'll talk to her.
Have a drive. I don't know about you, Andy, I've never been mad keen on the styling of the Subaru Imprezas, not even the latest versions. Don't do a great deal for me. And this car, I mean, it's a 5-year-old model. It's done, what, 30,000 miles?
Yeah.
Not a huge mileage for its age, but it's reasonably priced at about 16.5 grand.
It is, yeah. Like you said, the styling never was cutting edge when it came out, but, but of course that wasn't the reason people bought these. They bought them because it had, you know, very, very drab looks, but supercar consideration. A lot of people buy fast cars and forget that, you know, ride is everything, because you can't have that much brake horsepower on tap with it going off the road.
Yeah.
This seems to combine being very pleasant to be in, at the same time you know that the suspension is geared to a very, very high brake horsepower engine, right, and it's comfortable. It's very interesting comparing it directly with the Integra. The Integra had a sweeter gearbox.
Yeah.
The clutch is much heavier on this, the gearbox is a lot tighter. It doesn't feel quite as precise as the Integra did. You really get a feeling of this is a race car underneath that drab exterior. It really is a Clark Kent, this car.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Right now, here's Richard Hammond with a lowdown on the Subaru Impreza.
Every now and again, along comes a car that completely changes the way we look at things, and the Subaru Impreza Turbo was just such a car. For most of us, it was our introduction to the whole concept of a car with 4 doors, 4 seats, a boot, a proper old-fashioned saloon car that just happens to go like stink. And when I say fast, I mean very fast. 0 to 60 is dashed off in 4.7 seconds. And in this one, we've got 276 brake horsepower to play with, and that's quite a lot. Call them what you will, Scooby-Doos, Pretzers, whatever you like, you're going to have the choice of quite a few on your kind of budget. As an example, for about 16 grand, this is a 98 STi on an S-plate. A lot of people reckon, and I actually agree with them, that the current version is really a bit soppy looking by comparison with this one. And for my money, actually, this is about the prettiest of the Impreza turbos, if pretty is the word to use when you describe a car with this car's particular abilities. And don't forget, we are talking here about some pretty serious performance. The rallying heritage is more than just a marketing exercise. Technology from the racing has found its way onto the real-world cars. When it comes to buying one second-hand, well, let's be honest, it will have been thrashed mercilessly. There's little point in owning one to do anything else with it. But it is a Subaru, and the rest of their range tend to be more pedestrian motors favoured by farmers, simply because they are unburstable. So fast and flash though it may be, the Subaru Impreza Turbo is still a tough old boot. The Subaru Impreza STi, with its glorious-sounding flat-4 2-litre engine, generates 262 brake horsepower, which means 60 miles an hour comes up in about 5.4 seconds, top speed of 148 miles an hour. The current version is number 7, and it was available from the year 2000 on. There are earlier versions available on the market.